when borders are not violated, but when you don't feel that you cross borders, when people trust and have faith in tomorrow and are ready to go to squares to fight for their tomorrow, when between protesters and the president, there's only one barrier, and that is honest elections. This is our Europe. These are our rules. This is our way of life. And for Ukraine, it's a way home. A way to its home. Now, I am here in order to defend our people's way home, of all Ukrainians, of all ages and various political convictions, of various social status, of various religious convictions and different histories, but all of us enjoy this common European history. European way of life, they tried to annihilate it through total war. Why? Because after the Ukrainian European way of life, they want to destroy the European way as such. Out of all 27 elements of the European way of life, of 27 countries of the European Union, we will not allow that. This total war now that was waged by Russia is not only for the territory, for a territory in this or that part of Europe. The threat of it is that there is a dictator with massive supplies and reserves of Soviet weapons and weapons from dictatorial regimes, Iran in particular. In order to be able to fight like this, the Kremlin cynically and deliberately, year after year, step after step, was trying to eliminate and destroy what we see as our value in Europe. The value of human lives has been destroyed in Russia. For the authorities there, nobody is of value apart from those who are in the Kremlin and have their own wallets as at heart. 140 million of Russian citizens, for the leaders of Russia, are just bodies that are capable of carrying weapons to Russia, the weapons that would be on the battlefield and to keep everybody in obedience so they could become the supremacy of violence and obedience. These are the rules instead of law there. The Russian regime not only hates any social justice and diversity, they invest in xenophobia and are trying to make it part of normality on our continent and trying to make the inhumane realities of the 30s and the 40s, the 20th century, a reality of today. But this is the answer to that for us is no. No, Europe. We are defending we're defending from the anti-European, the most anti-European force of the modern world. We are defending ourselves, we, Ukrainians, on the battlefield together with you. And I thank you that we're defending it together, and we must defend ourselves. And it's important not only for the states of Europe, not only for the communities and societies in Europe, no matter who we are and what we are. We always fight against disrespect and neglect. Wherever we live, we always put our faith in integrity for whatever we dream for our children and grandchildren. And the precondition for these dreams is peace and security. And that is going to be, and whether it's going to be possible if we do not overcome the anti-European force that is trying to steal from all of us our Europe. No, only our victory will guarantee all that. Each of our European values, our victory that is going to be, that should happen, that would be mandatory. Dear leaders of Europe, dear President, ladies and gentlemen, dear members of the European Parliament, dear workers of the European Parliament here and other European institutions here, dear journalists, dear security service workers, dear military and army personnel, policemen, rescue workers, dear workers of municipalities, diplomats, teachers, professors, scientists, dear doctors, drivers, dear workers of seaports, farmers, dear industrialists, dear workers at the industrial enterprise, dear business owners, small, big businesses, dear workers at banks, dear energy workers and electricity grids workers, dear trade union workers, dear students and representatives of NGOs, dear producers and actors, lawyers, defense lawyers, human rights defenders. The destiny of Europe, the fate of Europe has never depended on politicians, and that should not be the illusions now. Each and every one of us matter. Each and every one of you are strong. Each and every one of you is capable to impact and influence our common result, our common victory. And these applause are not directed to me and at me. These applause is actually, for these applause, I'd like to thank all of you in Europe, in hundreds of towns and villages who supported Ukraine in this historic battle. Thank you.
That was the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky speaking from the EU Parliament in Brussels. He called on his Western allies to keep supporting his country against Russia's growing aggression. Zelensky also said that it was not only a fight against Russia, but also a plight to protect the entirety of Europe. He referred to it as a common fight against Russia to save the entirety of Europe.